future of entertainment.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my AEW Revolution review. Since this is the first wrestling pay-per-view I'll be reviewing, I'll tell you how I do things. I rate the pay-per-view based on its rewatchability. I'll rate each match on a scale of 1 to 10, then at the end I'll average all those numbers together to get our final rating. Revolution was another great pay-per-view with a few surprises and a few disappointments, so let's get to it. The buy-in featured a tag match of Thunder Rosa and Riho versus Britt Baker and a surprise competitor, Maki Ito. Now, I didn't watch the Women's Eliminator Tournament on YouTube, so I wasn't quite sure who Maki Ito was, and so for me this wasn't that exciting, but I'll take a debut nonetheless. This was a solid match with good back-and-forth action, and I could never get enough of Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. They are so fantastic in the ring together. It was Britt and Maki who would pick up the win here. This match gets a solid 7.4. Our first main card match of the night was the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and MJF for the AEW Tag Team titles. Another fantastic match, spot after spot, as expected in a Young Bucks match, an especially match with such star power. Overall, the storytelling here was great. While I had confidence in the Bucks, I was on the edge of my seat during some of those close pinfalls. Another fantastic tag match, and it was the Bucks who would retain the titles. This was a 9.3 out of 10. The next match on the card was the Casino Tag Team Royal. The winner of the match got a shot at the AEW Tag Team Championships. Spot after spot in this match as well. I found it very interesting that Bear Country, a team that hasn't even made their Dynamite debut yet, had a spot in this match, but not a team that just picked up another win, FTR, and former tag team champions. Nonetheless, the match was fantastic, and in the end, Rey Fenix was the last one standing, gaining the win for he and his teammate Pac. A great match with fun-filled action, earning itself a 9.1. Following that was the AEW Women's Championship match, Hikaru Shido versus Ryo Mizunami. Personally, I was not really looking forward to this match. AEW women's matches are usually a cut-and-paste format, but this really blew me away. This match was fantastic. Having not seen the Eliminator Tournament, I was blown away by Mizunami's skills. It was definitely a very cultural match using that Japanese women's style, and I really hope we get to see more of Mizunami. It ended with an attack from Britt and Maki, but Thunder Rosa and Riho would run down for the save, leading to a tag match on Dynamite. I'm calling it now. I called it back at Double or Nothing last year. Britt Baker is going to be the one to take the title off Shida, and of course she did retain in this match. I don't know if it was my surprise by Mizunami, but this was one of my favorite matches of the night, and it got itself a 9.6. Next up, we had easily the weakest match on the card that night, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor versus Miro and Kip Sabian. This match was good, but ultimately it was a glorified Dynamite match, and I don't see why it needed to be on the main card. I think that women's tag match could have switched spots with this. It was just another Miro squash match, ultimately building up as a threat when he decides to go for the TNT or World title. This match was pretty weak, and it only got a 6.1 out of 10. Following that, we had Matt Hardy versus Hangman Page in a big money match. This was a solid match with some solid wrestling. I wasn't too impressed by anything here, but it was a fun match one way or another. Hangman did pick up the win and earn himself Matt's first quarter earnings, only to find himself in debt one day later on being the Elite. This was a decent match with nothing too special, so it's going to find itself an 8. The face of the Revolution ladder match was up next. The first man to climb the ladder and grab the literal brass ring earned a title shot on Dynamite on Wednesday for the TNT title against Darby Allin. There was a surprise entry into this match, and it was revealed to be Ethan Page, who would be competing against Max Caster, Penta El Zero Miedo, Cody, Lance Archer, and Scorpio Sky. This match was amazing, as all AEW ladder matches have been. In the end, it was Scorpio Sky earning the title shot, and because this script is being written on the Monday night after Revolution, I'm going to predict Scorpio will score himself that belt off of Darby Allin. This match was great, and I definitely recommend giving it a watch. 9.4 out of 10. And then the disappointment began to kick in for me. I had hyped myself up way too much for this. I was ready to let down on Friday that there was no real WandaVision cameo, and so I was pulling for something really big here. I was seeing the rumors fly around for people like Nick Aldis or Brock Lesnar to be signing, and I set my expectations way too high. The segment overall was just poorly executed, and I wasn't impressed. A timer counted down, and when it hit 0, the new signee was revealed to be Christian Cage. Okay. I'm kind of getting tired of this because while I don't believe AEW is just WWE rejects, it's starting to feel like they kind of want that to be. Does anyone really retire anymore? This segment was really weak for me, and it's going to take it down to a 4.2. The next disappointment of the night was Darby Allin and Sting versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks in a street fight. Picture this. You buy tickets for Revolution. First time in 5 years where you're going to see Sting wrestle, and then he doesn't even show up live, not even to celebrate his win in the match. I was expecting this to be an in-person match, but ultimately it was just disappointing. The match itself was impressive, but I'm not a huge fan of these brutal street fight cinematic matches. Hook and Will Hobbs got involved, and in the end it was Sting that pinned Ricky Starks. This match was just weak, and I really didn't enjoy it. Nonetheless, it got itself a 6.3. Next up, we had the main event, Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship in an exploding barbed wire death match. The majority of this match was exactly what I expected it to be. Blood, gimmicks, and violence. I didn't hate it. Omega hit the one-winged angel, and while some claim that Moxley kicked out, and I refuse to accept that, he put his leg on the rope to cause an explosion, his shoulders never came off the floor, and so the pinfall was just interrupted. It was not a kick out.
Can he make the cover? 2. Oh!
Gallows and Anderson came out for some assistance, and Omega hit another one-winged angel and pinned Moxley to retain. The timer for the final explosion continued, for some reason, even though the match just ended. Callis came down to get Omega, but then just left, for some reason. Then, as the final minute was counting out, Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and Blade came out to take out Omega and the Good Brothers, for some reason. Then, as the final explosion went off, Eddie Kingston covered Moxley to shield him, for some reason. I don't know if it was just me, but I don't really get this finish. I understand Kingston respects him and stuff, but he let Moxley get beat up for like more than 5 minutes before coming out to save him. I don't know. In the end, it was just weird, and I don't care too much that the explosion was weak. It was really just the booking that I found strange. Overall, the match wasn't too bad, and I rather enjoyed it, earning an 8.7 out of 10. So, with all that said, it is time to give the final score. Tallying everything up, AEW Revolution earns itself a 7.5, and ultimately that comes down to Christian's debut and the street fight. Other than those two segments, I definitely recommend watching this show. It is definitely worth it. Well, that is going to do it for this video. If you want to see more wrestling content, stay tuned for my review of WWE Fastlane in a few weeks, and coming sooner than that, my top 10 favorite male wrestlers. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, do whatever you can to support the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.